What's up, guys? Welcome to another Ben&Tanaye video. Today we're going to be talking about the 7-year itch.
Whatever that means. You guys are going to learn what the 7-year itch is. At the same time, I'm going to learn what it is.
So in March, I'm pretty sure y'all are going to see this video in April. We're recording in March. But in March we celebrated our 7th wedding anniversary.
7 years.
Yes, we've been married for 7.
Marital bliss.
Yes.
I love this woman to life. She is my queen.
We've been married for 7 years. There's this thing called the 7-year itch. I'm gonna read you guys the definition of what this thing is. So it says the 7-year itch is a psychological term that suggests that happiness in a relationship declines after around the year 7 of marriage. Okay, so apparently most couples, when they've been married, when they hit that 7 year, it's like that irritation, it's that irritation.
Itching to get out? Like,
no,
what's going on?
Not that you're physically itching. They're using the term itching because it's an irritation. So, like on that 7th year, it's kind of like something switches, something changes. You know. Do you feel like in our 7th year, we reached that irritation phase? Like,
no, I feel like I irritate you the exact same since I met you in life. So, I mean, not to say nothing changed, but I think we matured together as adults. I mean, we got married at 22, so yeah. I mean, you know, that comes with the territory, but we matured together. We take our marriage serious, and, you know, with the help of the good Lord,
right?
You know, keeping Him first. I think a lot of things going to irritate either one of us. That's just the way it is. But as far as being to the point of like, oh my God, all right, this is
not gonna work.
Yeah, like
I can't stand being with this man.
Not at all.
So, do you feel like it's a real thing? Like the 7-year itch is a real thing, or
for some people that go into marriage with different perspectives of what marriage should be, I feel like when you go into a marriage and you're, you know, you've actually done your due diligence before you got married, and you realize how big of a step marriage is and how big of a responsibility, and it takes a certain maturity level to be married, and you're going into this with the mindset of forever. So what is 7 years?
So the reason why I'm having a hard time believing that it's an actual thing is because what does the 7 have to do with, I don't know, like, why at 7? Why not at 5? Or why not at 6? You know what I mean? Like, why is it the 7 where people, like,
such an odd number? Isn't 7 supposed to be a lucky number? I
feel like in marriage, every year is so different.
Every day is different, I feel like.
Every day? No, but I mean, like the year as a whole. So our first year, for most people, it's like that bliss, that honeymoon phase. For us, we were so young. We did have a honeymoon phase, but I wouldn't say the whole first year was just that honeymoon phase.
Our first year was a honeymoon phase. I lost my job.
It was hard.
We was going through some stuff.
So our first year was like, it was hard. We were very young. We didn't have a lot of money. So I don't feel like our honeymoon phase was like that whole year. It was like a month maybe.
I feel like our first year was just straight trusting in the Lord.
Yeah.
But like it took a lot of faith and a lot of just trusting in God to really just get through it. And you know,
I don't know how many people would have made it past that year. Being married at 22 and having dealt with so many hard things at one time. Like, we already didn't make a lot of money, but then he lost his job. It was just a lot. So that first year was like a struggle year for us. You know, it was good things and it was some bad things, but if you named the whole year, I would call it the struggle year, was that first year of marriage. So,
but I think that was a blessing at the same time, because I feel like your first year of marriage and you're struggling, you can have a mindset of it can only go up from here.
Yeah.
You know, so I feel like that's what happened with us. Like, yeah, we struggled that first year, and it kind of made us tighter and made us stronger.
Yeah.
And then we only progressed from there instead of regressed.
So with hard trials that you go through in a marriage, it can either go one or two ways. It can either bring you closer or it can drive you further apart. So for us to go through that first year and it brought us closer, I think was a good a good sign for our marriage. What do you feel like the difference between our 7th year and in all the other years? What do you think the difference was?
Yeah, ups and downs, but not nothing crazy to be to a point of giving up or just calling it quits. I mean, I have my flaws, you know what I'm saying?
I think sometimes when people having issues later in their marriage, not saying that you'll never have issues, but when you have really detrimental issues, when you're having those issues really later, it's because you didn't figure stuff out early on.
You didn't lay a foundation. I mean? You didn't address things.
Exactly. So and you're always gonna have issues. I'm not saying that we're perfect and we never have issues. I'm saying
but these are new issues that come up.
Yeah, I'm talking about issues that are like just normal issues, financial issues, trust issues. You know, issues like that could have been, the foundation should already be laid. And when you reach 7 years and now you're talking about well, I don't trust you. What happened? I think in marriage, things change all the time. You know, things happen that we can't predict. You know,
like bro, right now it's a pandemic, and so people are working from home. Some people are losing their job, like they're getting laid off because, or you know, people are independent contractors or something like so. In their case, if they do not work, they do not eat.
Yeah.
Some stuff like that can really be detrimental to a marriage. You know, just situations happen that we can't control.
Right, but that's when your foundation comes in. It was hard. That's why the first year of our marriage was so hard, because we were hit with like really hard stuff, and we didn't fully have a full foundation yet because we were just starting. You know what I mean? Like neither one of us had been married before. We were only 22. It was my first time living on my own, like not on my own, but outside of our parents' house. Just, it was a lot of new stuff going on, and it was like we had to figure it out. So, you know, if you're at 7 years and you're still, not saying you should have everything together, but if you're still trying to figure out, well, I don't know who should handle the finances, and you're at 7 years, you know, you gotta, sometimes you just gotta figure stuff out early, set that foundation, and then when hard stuff hits you, we're gonna have to lean on our foundation. Yeah, we never dealt with this before. We never dealt with having to be in the house all day, every day together. You know, working together from home, we've never had to deal with that. But if our foundations are laid, you know, time alone is needed still. You know, go to your room, I go to my room. You know, if you need that, you know, that's already a foundation that we have though. So when we're getting irritated or when, you know, whatever, you just know when you need to step back. This quarantine thing is really gonna ruffle some marriages. Basically, like either people gonna come out pregnant or they gonna come out divorced. Like, because it's like it's just like when we talking about our first year marriage, it's either gonna bring us closer or it's gonna tear us apart.
But I feel like when you're talking about the foundation, I feel like just as much as we say don't try to mirror your marriage after, or like clone your marriage after somebody else's marriage, but at the same time I feel like you have to kill your pride sometimes to have a support system. And I feel like when we were going through things earlier in our first year of marriage, we had a support system.
Yeah.
And not to say they were buying stuff for none of that, but like her parents, you know, we don't mirror our marriage after them, but like they've been married for almost, what was it, 30 years?
It's 31 years.
31 years they've been married, but you know, at that time it was 25 plus years. So like we lean on some advice and we ask questions and you know, things like that. And just having a support system. And we know plenty of people that have been married for 30 plus years, and our foundation is a sure foundation, which is Jesus Christ to us. So like we were like really trusting God. Like,
yeah, we had to. We had no other option.
So it was like, so that was
like,
a big
I don't
thing.
know where our next meal coming from, but we gonna eat.
So we was holding on to our faith.
Yeah.
So I mean, but like, you know, and this is not having too much pride to recognize that. I think some people have a lot of pride to like, oh, they don't really want to accept help or even advice. Like, it's not like we was getting a bunch of help, but we was getting advice, and you know, we was just trusting God. So don't have too much pride to at least adhere to advice.
Okay, so I found an article online, and the title is 9 Signs Your Relationship Won't Make It Past the 7-Year Itch. So they're just giving a few signs that you're probably not going to make it if you don't, if you have these signs, then you probably won't make it past your 7-year itch. This is not our words, this is an article. This is
a Bustle article. I guess that's the name of a blog or whatever. Number 1, you take each other for granted. Yeah, I mean, yeah.
I can definitely see that. And I'm going to say This is not just 7 year itch for us. This is in general.
Yeah.
If you're taking each other for granted,
thing.
I don't know how long y'all gonna last. We kind of talked about that in our last advice video. If you just expecting them to do something because they supposed to do it, you know what I mean? Like, you're not appreciating, you're not, you know, you gotta appreciate what people do. You can't just take them for granted.
But then, you know, I can't take nothing for granted. You know, some people, they do, and they do things, and they're like, well, I know my wife is gonna be there when I get home. You don't know what's going on, so you need to really, I don't take her for granted, because I feel like I give myself reality checks. I just, sometimes on my job, there's a little free time sometimes, so my brain gets to wondering, and I just be like, man, and you know, sometimes I just find myself really appreciating my wife, even if I don't say it or whatever, just appreciating them. Like, man, I would be screwed if I didn't have my wife with me or whatever, you know, stuff like that. I need my wife. Number 2, don't patronize couple time. So I'm gonna read a little bit of this so you guys get the gist of what it's talking about. In the beginning of a relationship, date nights and spending a lot of time together is seemingly effortless. But when you're in an established relationship, couple time can become less of a priority. If you have kids, for instance, they become your entire world. When you give so much emotionally to your children, you don't have anything left for your partner. It may not be a good sign. This isn't just limited to couples who have children. You may start prioritizing work, hobbies, friends, or responsibilities to your family. In order to prevent this from hurting your relationship, be sure to make time for your partner, set date nights regularly in order to stay connected.
We don't have children yet, but part of the advice that my mother gave me is you have to put your marriage first, even when you have kids. So naturally, as mothers, as fathers, whatever, you love your kids, you want to give them all this love and you want to give them all this attention, but then if you're forgetting about your spouse and you're not putting them first, the thing about kids is they grow up and they get their own spouses, they move out, they get their own stuff,
y'all
and then you stuck with your spouse.
In the same house.
You stuck with this person. You stopped loving them years ago because you done gave all your kids all your attention. You know what I mean? Like, yes, your kids need you. At a certain point, when they're really little, they can't fend for themselves. Yes, they need you. But I can't put my kids in front of my marriage. Because at the end of the day, when they gone, they long gone, they off to college, they off doing whatever they doing, I'm stuck with him, and I don't even barely know him anymore. I barely like him.
I mean, I just think it's common sense. Number 3, you started living separate lives. I mean, sure, that don't apply to us.
But that's easy. I can see how that easily gets done. Like, you go out to work every day. You have your hobbies. I have my hobbies. We have separate things. Right. You have your group of friends. I got my group of friends, and we kind of live in separate lives. You know what I mean? I can see how that happens. Thank goodness, Ben and I we
move around in the same circles a lot.
Pretty much. We have similar friends. We went to high school together. We have.
Yeah, like, I feel like, I mean, it can happen. Yeah. But I feel like since we've known each other since high school, we went to the same school, so a lot of the people that she knows, I know, and a lot, you know, vice versa. So, and then a lot of people that I would hang out with, like, I met through Tanaye because they went to her church before I joined. So, like, it's just like we move around. The same people. We know all the same
even
people.
If we didn't, we're friends. So it's hard to have separate lives from somebody who's like your best friend in the first place. You know what I mean? So I can't go and do stuff, like, even if I'm hanging with my friends and having a separate day, when I come home, it's like I have to tell him everything that went down because he's my best friend. You know what I mean? So it comes back to when we're friends, it's how can we have separate lives?
Number 4, you're dissatisfied by one or multiple aspects of your relationship.
That definitely goes back to communication too. You have to communicate certain things, and if, you know, and I know some things are big to you and then they might not be big to your partner, and then it's like you talk to him about it or her about it and they just don't feel like it's not a necessity. I'm trying to think of something small, like you don't put your socks on when you go to sleep, but I feel like we need to have socks on when we go to sleep because whatever, feet are nasty, blah blah blah. You may not feel like it's a big, and I'm making this up because we don't have this issue. I'm making this up off the top of my head. Little aspects become big, huge aspects, and then your marriage is in the crapper because of these things that can't be compromised. That's why things need to be compromised, things need to be communicated, and we just have to have a certain respect for each other. You may not feel like it's a big deal, but I want to put my socks on.
Number 5, and this goes back to number 3 actually. You started keeping things to yourself. And this says, just to be clear, we all have the right to keep certain things to ourselves. While your partner might know a majority of your life, they don't have to know everything, especially if you are not comfortable sharing it. But if you are being dishonest about things you used to be honest about, that is not a good sign.
So, I'm trying to think, what things do you feel like you can keep from your spouse, though?
Yeah, that's crazy. I don't know. Other things she'll say, and I'm not going to say what, but she'll say TMI. Like, so stuff that I really don't need to know, she'll still tell it. She'll just let me know.
This is TMI.
I'm sharing a little bit too much. But, but she still tells it.
I can see how you can keep those
like
things.
that.
But I can see how you can keep those things. You don't have to share that, no. But if you're having stuff where you just don't tell your partner a bunch of stuff, like, that is a little...
I mean, it's a good thing, like you said, being dishonest about stuff that you are usually honest about.
Yeah, that's...
Like, something changed, something...
That's not good. Like, you talking on the phone with some girl, we're just friends, but
and that can
you stop telling your wife about it.
That can be a part of, like I said, number 3, about living separate lives. Like,
yeah.
Like, yeah. That separate lives can turn into something. You don't have
a whole day, you ain't told your wife about anything. Yeah, I don't like that.
So, number 6, you keep having the same fights over and over again.
Yeah. And little fights turn into big fights. And if you've been having the same fights for up to 7 years, yeah, that can get messy real quick. And
up to 1 year, I feel like.
Yeah. But I mean, I feel like there's not fights. See, it's hard to say that because I don't think we really fight. I kind of get loud and he just sits there. So it's not really a fight. But
and that because I'm scared, by the way. You know what I'm saying?
He's not a confrontational person. So he's just sitting there like, okay. And I'm like, I'm not.
I let her get it out.
Whatever. So we don't really fight, so it's hard for us to kind of talk about that. We do have disagreements.
Yeah, disagreements. We think differently.
Yeah.
So it just...
You're going to have this.
It comes with the territory, but like, if it's something like just always, like, come on, man.
The same thing, always fighting about, yeah, that can get a little messy.
All right, number 7. You have different spending and saving habits. Well, we already talked about that from just the first year in our marriage. We came to the conclusion that Tanaye is better with money. I wasn't at the time. I'm okay with money, but she's real good at it, and we have the same spending habits, maybe not, but we're both cheap.
Yeah.
So it kind of balances out. But the saving habits, we save. We save what we save.
So I think it could have gotten messy if Ben had like this pride and was like, I'm not gonna let you control the money, I'm the man, or whatever. I'm just saying that could have happened. We have different spending habits and you feel like I'm not relinquishing, you know what I mean? Not saying he can't spend, but if he's saying I'm gonna keep doing what I'm doing and not at all worry about what you're doing, and we have different habits, I'm trying to save, you trying to spend, it would have got real messy, And they say that financial issues are one of the biggest reasons why people get divorced. So if you can't handle the finances, like, give it up. It's okay. Like, it has nothing to do with you being a woman or a man or anything. Just let's decide who's better and just do what's best for our marriage, because it can get so bad.
Number 8. You don't have that one activity you love sharing together.
I'm gonna be honest. At one point, I felt like that was a problem for us, because I don't like to watch the same things he watched. At one point, I didn't like watching anything he liked to watch. Like, we were just separate. Like, I was in the room, he was in the living area back at the apartment, and we would just go out separate ways after work. Like, just because we didn't have anything like to watch together or to do together or anything like that. But that could have gotten bad. You have to find something that we both like, and it may not be a show, it may be some activity. We like to go for walks, we like to do this. You gotta find something in common, and we're so different, so that can be hard. We're completely different people, but we do have stuff in common. We have lots of stuff in common. We have church in common. We have, we watch a few shows together now.
And last, you process time differently. Okay. Let's see. This says, it's a long paragraph.
Oh, I remember what that was about.
Okay, yeah.
Like,
she can elaborate.
So, as people, we all process things differently. So how long it takes for you to grieve, how long it takes for you to whatever. We all do process it differently, but if you process it so differently, like I done moved on, like it could be anything. I moved on from this issue and you still harping on it, like you still sitting there mellowing.
Yeah, that was that's still one of my pet peeves. Never necessarily with Tanaye, just with people. Like, I'm like, bro. Like, I remember it was one time, like, we talked about something, and I'm thinking, okay, we passed it, or just for the day. An hour later, she bring it back up. I'm like, we just talked about this. Like, what? But like stuff like that, I'm like, I get over things quick.
He does.
So like,
So there's a balance. There has to be a balance. I'm not gonna get over it as quick as you. And once he realizes, okay, she's not gonna get over it like I get over things, and I have to realize he's not gonna dwell on it as long as I dwell on it. We have to come in the middle and find that median, that middle part. Like, okay, let's talk about this for longer than I would expect and for less than I would want to. But that middle, we're gonna handle it.
Yeah.
Because we do process time differently, and everybody does. For all of these issues that they brought up here, and for any issues you can think of in your relationship or in your marriage, nip them in the bud now. Don't let it get to 7 years and then you looking back like, I hate everything about this marriage.
And even if it did get to 7 years, the silver lining is all of these issues can be resolved.
Yeah.
So you need to take the time, swallow your pride, if you're really serious about being with this person, and resolve them, and take care of them.
Yeah.
If you're really serious about it, because they can be resolved. These are not unresolvable issues.
It's true.
So, because they usually start off small. So.
So that's it for today, guys. We had a long conversation about this 7-year itch thing. Yeah. Let us know in the comments if you feel like it's a real thing, or if you feel like once you hit that 7 years, things change. Let us know in the comments. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns for us, you can also leave them down in the comments. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe, and keep watching our videos. Thanks, guys, for watching. Have a great day.
See you guys.
Bye.